Hello everybody, it's Carol Garrison with Carol's Creative Escape. Today is Monday, January 20th, and it is time for another Make It Monday. Tonight's video is going to be a little bit different because it's giving me an opportunity to announce a couple changes that I'm making in how I'm going to be doing things going forward. At the end of December, I made a decision to stop being a Stampin' Up demonstrator. It has nothing to do with Stampin' Up and really everything to do with where I'm at in my creative walk in life, I guess, for whatever that means. And so it has nothing to do with the products, nothing to do with that, but I started taking a look around at all of the stuff I have in my office. You can see my whole wall back here filled with paper and other stuff. And what you can't see is the stuff to the left of me and the stuff to the right of me. And I decided that I had enough things to work with, that for right now, my spot in life is to use the things that I've got. I wasn't growing my business. I wasn't doing my videos to help. Initially, I started doing videos in the hopes that it might help sell products, but I was finding that that wasn't happening for me. And at this point in my life, I didn't have the time or the energy to put into trying to create a business online again. It just wasn't where I was comfortable. So I made a decision to leave Stampin' Up, and I am simply going to start using doing videos that will use my stash of products. And hopefully through that, I can encourage you to also dip into your stash. If you want to continue using brand new products from Stampin' Up, that's fine. You can take the cards that I design, you can take the layouts, you can use those with any product that you want from any company. Like I said, for me, the joy wasn't there anymore, and I needed to make a change for me, and so that's what I've done. So you are going to start seeing me use some older products. Some might even be 10 or 12 years old because there's a lot of paper I just haven't ever parted with. I feel really good about my decision. I will still use Stampin' Up products, but I will also now in my videos be able to use other products. So if there's another product that I really like that I couldn't even maybe get from Stampin' Up, or I liked it better than that, I've got a little more flexibility to do some of those things too. So today I want to share with you a fun project. This is kind of one that I created on my own here. And it's featuring some of my Valentine's paper, as well as a product from the past that I haven't used in a really long time. In fact, I haven't used it for so long I had to unclog my bottle. I brought back a couple older punches. And it's actually really kind of fun to go back and use some of this stuff. So like I said, my videos aren't going to change in terms of my sharing my joy of helping you find creativity and making your own cards. It's still my goal in life to spread joy one card at a time. The only thing that's going to change a little bit will be some of the products that I'm using. Some may be retired Stampin' Up products. Some may be from other brands. But I'm going to use things that talk to me, and again, use up my stash. So I am going to go ahead and grab my camera stand here and flip things over and get started on this video. And I appreciate everybody's understanding. I hope that you will continue to watch videos even if it's not going to show you new product. I'm kind of sensing that isn't going to be with most of my followers. Probably not a big issue, and for that I'm grateful. If that is something you were looking for, I may not be able to help you with that, but again, I hope that I can also encourage you to use some of the stash stuff that you've got as well, because I think paper crafters are a lot like sewers, and that there's always paper and craft and something new and better to buy. And so, you know, to each their own. But I'm really excited about this change. I've actually got lots of ideas. I'm thrilled to be able to get back into some of my papers. I even may bring in some retro card techniques, things that we haven't done in a really long time. I'd say vintage, but I don't want to feel that old. So let me get started. It is Valentine's Day coming up, and so I've made a cute Ghirardelli treat holder. It's really just a bag with a little bit of decor on the outside. And what I did use for my heart punches, these are retired heart punches, obviously from Stampin' Up. You can tell just by the design. And you know, like I said, there's a lot of stuff I didn't get rid of, but I didn't want to use in videos because I was trying to sell, and now I can just bring them back out and not have to worry about that. So just a cute little thing. And like I said, I'm using my stash. And so in December, I had made some really cute place card holders for the holidays. Well, I never finished those, and so I now have a stash of Ghirardelli snowmen. However, in the store you can get packets about this size that are 2 chocolate hearts that you could use for Valentine's. But because I'm using my stash up, it includes some of the things that I have sitting around. But this bag will hold that. It'll hold, you know, a couple other candies, I'm sure, as well, in addition to the Ghirardellis. So this is the first one that I made, and it's just simply using the heart. It's an old stamp set. And because I'm not selling anything anymore, I'm really not going to share the names of products because a lot of them may not even be available. So if you do have a question on something that I used, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to answer that for you. But there's that. And then I also made this one featuring Cherry Cobbler. And it says, wishing you happy Valentine's Day. Again, I've got the double heart. I know it doesn't show up a whole lot, but you can see that scalloped heart just slightly behind it. And then on the front side, I've recreated that heart, and then I had just a little outline heart stamp. I don't know if you can see the shiny on here. It's not quite dry, so I don't want to touch it yet. But if you remember, back in the day, glossy accents or crystal effects, I believe this product is still available. Like I said, mine's been a while, so my tops in both these were kind of goobered up, and I just needed to stick a pin. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to squeeze any out, but it came out just fine. And what this does is it just creates kind of a 3D bubble of clear glue over the top of your design. So it's just another thing to add a little texture. Remember, we used to fill flowers with it, or the centers of flowers. Used it as a way to accent things. So little ribbon there, and again, it's just holding one little treat holder in there. So that glue does take a little bit longer to dry. So if that is something you're going to do, make sure you do it ahead of time. Maybe before you start assembling stuff, give it ample time to dry. So I'm just going to show you how to make these little holders. They're quick, easy treats. Would be fun if you've got a child that's in grade school exchanging Valentines, or maybe you want to share something with somebody at work. A very simple way to do that. And so I am going to grab, this is just a whole bunch of greetings. You can kind of create your own. And so, you know, I find I see things better if I look at it from this way. Valentine's, happy, and there's got to be a day in here somewhere. Happy Valentine's Day. All right, so I do want to stamp these out. I'm going to do that first so that my ink has plenty of time to dry. These are fairly narrow, so I'm going to cut just a little bit of paper off of this. I think I want it to be about 3/8 of an inch thick. Hopefully that stays pretty straight. Looks like it did. That's just gonna narrow down a little bit where I stamp. Because these are the old-fashioned rubber stamps, I don't need to worry about having a cushion underneath. And I am going to take my Real Red and just start stamping. The thing I think I'm most excited about is being able to go back. I have so much designer series paper. For me, that's kind of my fabric obsession, I guess you could call it. And so to be able to go back and revisit some of these different things, even as I was looking at them, it's like, oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember this. So even if you don't want to do this, just take a look at what you've got and see if there's something that maybe you can use just for a little bit of fun here and there. Happy Valentine's. I always worry if my words are going to line up here. So far, so good. If I was really thinking, I would have dug out my Stamparatus and used that. I'm not thinking, so I did not. Oh, and that ended up a little bit low, didn't it? All right, so if I stamp day, we'll just put it right there. I'll go back and do Valentine's. I shouldn't have said anything till I was all done stamping, right? Yikes. Now I'm struggling. Okay, we're going to try this one more time. I hope you all had a good week. We've kind of had the crud going around our house, and so it's been pretty dull, taking it easy. We are in a brutally cold weather pattern right now, so outside activities aren't really in the book. That's a little bit down from where I want it, but we're just going to keep moving ahead. This morning, I think it was, I don't know, 30 some degrees below zero with our wind chill. They don't call it that anymore, but anyhow. And tomorrow is supposed to be one of our colder days. They have actually started closing some of the schools, even in our metro area, just because the wind chill is dangerous enough. Even having kids standing out at the bus stop could be a problem. Good news, though, is it is supposed to start warming up after tomorrow morning when we wake up to really, really cold temperatures. It's funny because on one of the weather apps I follow, they are using an igloo to show just how cold it is here. So, the good news, though, is that it is supposed to start warming up. I think we'll end up tomorrow somewhere like 6 degrees above zero, which after the wind chills and everything that we've had, that is actually pretty warm. Kind of thing that caused me to have my husband put a new battery in my car so that we were prepared for some of the cooler temps. Silly stuff like that. All right, so then the other piece of coloring that I want to do is I found this paper. It actually is a Valentine paper, but had the beautiful gold foil on the back. And so I'm using both sides of it. This is gold foil, so there's kind of a little emboss resist going on. And I just took my blends and colored in. I'm using Old Olive for my green, and I used Real Red for the flowers, just as an accent to pull colors out. And so this is really all I'm doing to add a little bit of pop of color to the front. And I'm going to let those dry. And in the meantime, I will give you measurements. So this bag is super easy to make. You need 2 pieces of cardstock. For this particular one, I'm using the thick white cardstock. And I've scored it at, well, this measures 2 3/4 by 3 1/4, both pieces. And then I've scored it at 1/2 inch and at 2 3/4 inch, and then rotated it and scored it at 1/2 inch. So basically it's 1/2 inch all the way around. Same for this piece. And then on these two, I didn't use any backing, but I thought it would be fun to do with this cute heart and those hearts together. So these 2 pieces happen to be 1 1/2 by 2 1/2. When you're cutting, just make sure that the direction is going correct. And then, like I said, I used the heart punch here. This was just a piece of scrap that I tweaked to the thickness that I thought I wanted. And to make this card, it's very simple. You are going to, on one of these two pieces, cut at a little bit of an angle, and then just snip this off right at the score line. And then we're going to repeat the same here. And we'll cut this at the score line. And then on this piece, I'm going to cut at, let's see, how am I cutting this one? This one I'm going to cut, I gotta remember, I want my tabs to go this way. I'm going to cut at an angle up to that intersection, and then just snip it off right at the score line, because I do want the tab to remain. And then I tend to like to cut angles on mine. I find that if my folds are off by just a little bit, when I cut at an angle like this, I don't have to worry about stuff lining up because it's not going to show. All right, and that's all the trimming you need to do for that. And then we are going to take our bone folder. I actually put stuff away today. Kind of funny. And we're just going to burnish along the edges. So one of the things we've started doing, both with family and with neighbors, is playing more board games. And yesterday we were over at my brother's house, and I think we ended up with, I don't know, maybe 15 people. I didn't really even count. And just had a lot of fun. It was kind of potluck. Brought food over. Had a chance to see my kids and the grandkids and some of my nieces and nephews that I haven't gotten to see for a while. And it was just a lot of fun. And like I said, we're doing that also with our neighbors. So if you are one who likes board games, I might suggest trying to get friends or family together to play some board games. It's actually kind of fun. All right, and then we're just going to start to assemble. And so the first thing that I want to do is adhere my designer series paper to the front and back of my card. So I'm just going to grab my adhesive. And we will work on centering this. And again, when I'm adding layers like this, I always look at opposite corners. And if those two are evenly spaced, then I know that the other corners will also be pretty evenly spaced. There we go. So that's just a little decoration for the front. And then I'm using my double-sided sticky strip tape, tear and tape, and I am going to put adhesive here, here, and here, as well as two little strips here. And I'm not worried if I'm hanging over because I can fold this tape over and it'll stick to itself. That's one of the things I like about that sticky tape. All right, and so to assemble, it's going to basically go like this. So one of the things I like to do is make sure that when I'm putting my things together, all of the rough sides are facing the same direction. And that way I have one side that's nice and smooth and one side that's got the, you can see where I assembled it. So I just do that to do a quick peek. And what I have found easiest for assembling this box is to simply take that strip off the bottom flap. The one I've cut the angles, I always put on the inside. And I'm just lining this up kind of score line to score line because I want it still to bend without sticking. And I've got that piece done. And then the next thing, and this is where I have to make sure I've got the rough edges all together. The next thing I'm going to do is peel this piece off, and I'm going to put my little flap up onto that adhesive. Now, when I do that, I do like to make sure I've got it folded so that I've got a crisp 90-degree angle there. And I always put that little piece of adhesive on the tab because I don't want the bottom of my, the bottom of this piece to kind of stick up when I'm all done assembling. So I can put that piece there, and then I just fold this down, and I've got that side assembled. And we're going to repeat that same process over here. So we'll peel off the tape, the protective layer. Okay, that can stay there. It's not going to show. And I will do the same with this piece. And again, I'm just going to fold it down so that I'm sure I've got a good tight angle. So I'll have nice squares. I'll peel that little layer of tape off and fold it over. So there we go. I always, when I'm doing things like this, I'll always just take my bone folder and stick it on the inside and kind of rub down so that I'm sure that adhesive is really adhered. So now I've got a front of my box with the nice even edges, and then on the back I did a pretty decent job of assembling, so it doesn't show, but I just think this gives a nicer finish on the front of it. And then I am going to just take my roses, and I think I'll put this one on the back because this one I can cover some of the plainer parts. Well, let's see. Nope, I'm going to put this one on the front actually. So we'll add some adhesive to this, and you could actually, you know what? I did pop one up on dimensionals on my samples and one without, and honestly I liked it popped up just a little better. So we're just going to pretend like that's what I wanted to do all along here. Oops, that's the back side because it's not quite as fancy. And we're going to put that right there. And then I'm actually going to put my sentiment on here first because it'll be easier to adhere it while it's a flat surface. And so we'll just kind of put that across the center like so. And then again, I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. And just that easily, we have another box made. And again, it'll fit the little pretend Ghirardelli hearts that I've got here instead of my little snowmen. We'll just kind of pretend and go forward with that. So here are the cute little boxes that I've made. You could do a variety of different papers, designs. You know, this box is a little bit smaller. Huh, go figure that. I wonder how that is. You know what? Nope, I just made it narrower. But again, the dimensions actually interesting. The dimensions, let me see what I did. I like it though. It's 2 3/4 inches tall and 2 3/4 inches tall. And this should be 1 1/4, 1 3/4, 2 1/4. So it is actually a full inch smaller, I think. Half an inch smaller, probably, in width. Look at that. So basically, I'm a little surprised at myself. 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. Scored at 1/2 inch and 2 3/4, and then rotating it once to score at the bottom. This one is just a little bit narrower, but you can, either one works. That's kind of funny. So much for live videos being accurate, huh? Whatever. It works. It works. So basically you just have to figure out how wide you want it to be and add an inch so that you can do your 1/2 inch score lines, which gives you a box that's a 1/2 inch wide. So figure out how tall you want it, how high you want it, and how tall and how wide you want it. And then once you have that measurement, add an inch to the width and a 1/2 inch to the height. And then that'll allow you to do the score lines at 1/2 inch all the way around, except for the top, and get you the treat box size that you need. Who knew? Who knew? So I appreciate you sticking with me as I make this transition. Again, for those that were hoping I'd continue to show new product, that may happen on occasion as I buy things, but really take a look around you, and if you've got some stash that needs to be used, take this opportunity to start doing some of that, as well as using new stuff. I still have some new stuff to share with you, because once I made that decision to leave, I did place a fairly big order from Stampin' Up to get things from the mini catalog, because I really liked that catalog. So I'll have some new things to share, I'll have some old things to share, but more importantly, what I'm trying to share with you are techniques, card folds, and things like that that you can use in your creative endeavors. I hope you all have a great week. We will see you next Monday, and take care. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.